Some campervan upgrades don't just waste money, they void your insurance, they kill your resale value, and they can turn a $70,000 van into something banks refuse to finance. Here's the truth about the van conversion industry in 2026. There is an entire ecosystem built around selling you things you do not need. YouTube channels, Instagram accounts, affiliate blogs, they all profit when you buy more gear. Most of it looks amazing in a build tour. Most of it becomes a liability the moment something goes wrong. The problem isn't the gear itself. The problem is that buyers make installation decisions without understanding how those decisions affect insurance, inspections, resale, and long-term financing. This is the video nobody with a product to sell will make for you. Smart buyers in 2026 follow one rule before installing anything in a van. If it can't be removed cleanly, it needs to justify its cost 3 times over. That means the modification needs to add value on resale, not subtract it. It needs to be legal in the states or countries you're traveling through. And it needs to be insurable, meaning your insurance provider will actually cover it when something goes wrong. Most popular van upgrades fail at least one of those tests. Here's what that looks like in practice. A buyer spends $4,200 on a roof raise. The conversion shop does solid work. The van looks incredible. Then they try to sell it 2 years later. The next buyer's insurance company won't cover a non-certified structural modification. The loan underwriter won't approve a van with an altered chassis profile. The van sits on the market for 6 months. It sells for $11,000 less than comparable stock roof builds. That is not a hypothetical. That pattern repeats constantly in the used conversion market. So let's go category by category. What not to install and why. Category 1. Non-certified roof raises. This is the single most expensive mistake in the van conversion market, and it's the one most buyers never see coming. Roof raises are popular because standing headroom changes the living experience completely. That logic is correct. The execution is where buyers lose money. Here's the line that matters. A certified roof raise, done by an RVIA-compliant shop with structural engineering documentation, is a defensible modification. Expensive, typically $6,000 to $12,000, but it follows a standard. An uncertified raise, done by a local shop, a popular Instagram builder, or a DIY kit, that modification will follow you, and not in a good way. Insurance carriers have been tightening their language since 2024. Many policies now include exclusionary clauses for structural alterations without third-party engineering sign-off. A retired couple in Colorado found this out the hard way in 2024. They bought a used Sprinter with a clean-looking roof raise from a well-known Instagram builder. 8 months later, a hailstorm caused significant roof damage. The insurance adjuster flagged the raise immediately. The claim was denied. The repair came out of pocket, $14,000. The raise wasn't the problem. The paperwork was. Used van buyers are getting smarter. They run vehicle history. They ask for build documentation. A Sprinter with an uncertified raise carries a $10,000 to $18,000 value penalty compared to factory-hide equivalents in the same condition. That's not a repair cost. That's money that simply disappears. The smart move? Buy the factory high roof, the Mercedes Sprinter 144 high roof, the Ford Transit high roof, the Winnebago Solis 59PX, ProMaster-based, proper standing height, factory certified. Buy the platform, not the modification. Who this warning targets most? First-time buyers getting quoted on aftermarket raises. The price sounds reasonable. The long-term math doesn't.
Category 2. Undersized or off-brand lithium systems.
Here's the problem. Cheap lithium systems aren't dangerous because they're lithium. They're dangerous because of the BMS, the battery management system. That's the brain controlling charge load, thermal protection, and power balancing across your solar, shore power, and alternator, all running simultaneously in a lived-in van. Cheap systems use generic BMS configurations. They work fine in controlled conditions. They fail unpredictably when multiple charge sources overlap, which happens constantly in a van that someone actually lives in. A couple in Oregon documented this in 2023. They bought a budget 200 system from a small U.S. distributor. Good reviews, half the price of Tier 1 brands. 11 months in, the van was parked outside a grocery store. Smoke appeared from the rear. By the time the fire department arrived, the interior was gutted. Insurance investigated the battery installation. The system had no UL certification. Claim denied. They rebuilt the van from scratch on their own dime for $38,000. That's what a $600 battery decision looks like at the end of the road. Fire claims from van conversions increased significantly between 2021 and 2025. A large portion traced back to electrical failures, specifically undersized or uncertified battery systems. Here's what smart buyers use instead. Victron for charge control, Battleborn or Renogy certified LIFEPO4 cells for storage, a proper MPPT controller for system management. Minimum spec for full-time van living, 200 of usable capacity, not advertised capacity, usable. Most budget systems advertise 200 and deliver 140 under real load conditions. Real cost of getting this wrong? The battery replacement is $800 to $1,400. The denied insurance claim on a $60,000 vehicle costs everything else. Category 3. Propane cooking systems without proper ventilation. This one operates in a legal gray zone that buyers consistently underestimate, and it's gotten more complicated in 2026, not less. In several European jurisdictions, notably Germany and the Netherlands, a van dwelling with an unventilated gas cooking system cannot legally be classified as a habitable vehicle. That affects overnight camping rights in residential insurance coverage. In the U.S., NFPA 1192 governs LP gas standards in recreational vehicles. A conversion that doesn't meet that standard can be flagged during DOT inspections, particularly at campgrounds that conduct compliance checks. A full-time van dweller in Washington state had her van flagged at a state park in 2024. A ranger's routine check identified the propane setup as non-compliant. No certified regulator, no external shutoff, flexible plastic line. She was asked to leave. Her annual camping pass was suspended pending re-inspection. The fix cost her $900 and 3 weeks without the van. A proper propane setup needs certified lines, an external shutoff, adequate ventilation, and inspection-ready components. That's the standard. Anything short of that is a time bomb with a campground fine attached. Smart buyers in 2026 are moving toward induction cooking systems powered by lithium and solar. The Dometic induction series in the Wave cooktops have made off-grid electric cooking genuinely viable. If you're committed to propane, and there are legitimate reasons to be, do it to standard or don't do it at all. Realistic repair cost: a proper gas line retrofit runs $600 to $1,200 at a qualified shop. The fine for failing a federally regulated inspection starts at $250 and escalates fast. Category 4. Non-removable interior build-outs in cargo vans. This is where the insurance issue gets technical and where most buyers are completely unaware of their exposure. Cargo van titles carry different insurance classifications than passenger or RV-titled vehicles. When you permanently modify a cargo van interior, cutting floors, bolting fixed furniture to the chassis, you may be triggering a use classification change that your insurance company was never told about. A buyer in Texas commissioned a full custom build-out in a ProMaster Cargo in 2023. Beautiful van, professionally done. He was rear-ended on the highway 6 months later, significant structural damage, totaled by the insurance adjuster. Then the adjuster asked for the build documentation. The insurer argued the vehicle had been materially altered from its classified use without notification. Settlement was disputed for 8 months. He eventually received a payout, but $19,000 less than the van's actual market value at the time of the accident. The build wasn't the problem, the classification gap was. Smart buyers either work with a conversion company that provides RVIA certification, which formally reclassifies the vehicle, Or they build with removable components and disclose actual use to their insurer up front. The Hymer Grand Canyon S comes fully certified from the factory, with proper classification already handled. The documentation is already there before you take delivery. Who should not take this risk? Buyers who are financing. Lenders are increasingly requiring proof of insurance as a funding condition. A classification gap can stall or cancel financing at closing.
Category 5. DIY shore power inlets. This is where the gap between van build influencers and actual electricians becomes dangerous. Shore power systems, connecting your van to campground 30-amp or 50-amp service, require proper bonding, grounding, and overcurrent protection. Here's what buyers don't realize. A DIY inlet that isn't properly bonded creates a shock hazard that extends to anyone touching the van's metal exterior while it's plugged in. This is not theoretical. Campground electrocution incidents are documented and investigated by the CPSC. A family in Michigan discovered this in 2022. Their van was plugged into a campground pedestal. Their 11-year-old touched the door handle while standing on wet grass. She felt a strong shock, what electricians call a step and touch potential fault. She wasn't seriously injured. The campground's electrician inspected the van that evening. The DIY shore power inlet had no equipment ground bond. The family was asked to unplug and not return until the system was professionally certified. In Europe, 230-volt systems carry additional risk. A non-compliant installation entering a monitored campground in Germany or France will fail the site's electrical inspection at arrival. The van gets disconnected. Sometimes it doesn't come back. Installation from a certified RV electrical shop, $400 to $900. That is not optional. Shore power is always on the professional side of the line. Here is what smart buyers are actually doing before a single screw goes in. 1. They build a component documentation folder from day one: photos, receipts, brand certifications, installer credentials. Buyers who hand over a 30-page build binder at point of sale command $5,000 to $12,000 more on the private market for comparable builds. Documentation is an asset. Treat it like one. 2. They buy the van first, drive it for 90 days, then build. This sounds obvious. Almost nobody does it. In those 90 days, you learn the vehicle's quirks, your actual power consumption, whether the layout you planned works in practice. Builds done without this step routinely get rebuilt within 2 years. 3. For Sprinter-based builds, the reliability window is the 2019 to 2022 3.0-liter V6 diesel on the older body style. The 2023 onward OM654 2.0-liter diesel has a more complex emission system requiring dealer-level diagnostics, not yet widely available at independent shops. For the Ford Transit, avoid the 3.5-liter EcoBoost twin-turbo at high mileage. Chain tensioner wear hits consistently after 120,000 miles. The 2.0-liter EcoBlue diesel on European spec Transits is the more predictable long-term platform. 5. Water damage is the hidden killer of used conversions. Before buying any converted van, use a moisture meter. They cost $25. Run it on every wall panel, the floor substrate, and around every roof penetration. A single uncaught leak in a wood-framed build-out costs $4,000 to $9,000 to properly remediate. Sellers don't disclose this. The meter will. 5. For European buyers comparing Class B equivalents, the Weinsberg Carabas 601 on the Fiat Ducato, the Knaus Boxstar Street on the Sprinter, the VW California Ocean at the premium tier. ADAC certification provides an independent mechanical history equivalent to a full pre-purchase inspection. Never buy a used Remo or Marco Polo conversion without pulling the ADAC service record first.
Here is the mistake that costs buyers $10,000 to $22,000, and it happens in the most dangerous moment of the buying process, the excitement phase, right after they've decided to buy. A buyer spends 4 months researching. They watch 200 van tour videos. They decide they want a fixed queen bed, a full standing kitchen, 400 amp hours of lithium, 400 watts of solar, a composting toilet, a garage for bikes. They commission the build for $28,000 from a reputable shop. 6 months later, they're living in the van and realize they park at campgrounds with hookups 70% of the time, so the oversized off-grid system is irrelevant. The fixed bed eliminated the cargo flexibility they actually needed. The composting toilet created odor management challenges nobody warned them about. 2 years in, they rebuild. The second build costs $18,000. Total spend on building, $46,000. On a vehicle they paid $45,000 for. This is where amateurs lose money, not in the van purchase, in the build they commission before they know what they actually need. The solution is simple. Rent a converted van for 30 days before building. Outdoorsy and RV Share have professionally converted inventory across every U.S. region. A $2,000 rental saves a $20,000 rebuild. If renting isn't practical, buy a lightly used factory conversion, a Winnebago Solus, a Heimer Grand Canyon, a Mercedes-Benz Marco Polo. Live in it for 1 season, sell it, then build from real data. Smart buyers do this differently. They treat the first van as research, not the final answer. The van conversion industry makes money when you install things. Your financial interest is the opposite. Install only what improves your life in the vehicle, maintains the vehicle's value, and keeps your insurance and legal situation clean. Every modification this video covered has a version that's done correctly. The certified raise, the Tier 1 lithium system, the documented build. Those investments hold their value. The shortcuts don't. The most expensive campervan upgrades are usually the ones that looked smartest before the invoice arrived. Buy the platform, not the problem.